Welcome to Making the Most of High School, Conversations with Counselors. My name is Valerie Feit, and I'm co-director of school counseling and also the K-12 enrichment coordinator. And I'm joined here this evening by Corinne Ryan, who is also a co-director, and she's also chief information officer, Susan Hannon, high school counselor, and counselors Amanda Menke and Evan Miller. Welcome. We also want to give a shout out to Stephen Bavaro from EduTech for assisting us with this live stream. Throughout this meeting, you'll be able to see an email address come up, and if you'd like to ask us any questions, just go ahead and send them to the email address, and Mrs. Ryan will be sorting them and we'll answer the questions at the end of the presentation. Tonight, we want to provide you with a holistic overview of your child's high school experience. High school is a time for students to explore and identify their strengths and interests, develop their talents, and find what is most meaningful for them. So you will need to make decisions about which classes to take, what extracurriculars to become involved with, where to volunteer, what to do with summers, many other things as well. This is a time when you need our professional team, and we are here to support you. You will be navigating this time in your child's life. It's a time of great change, and we're going to be with you every step of the way. For the past 2 months, the counselors and I have been helping our seniors with the college application process. And in the course of that, they have to write essays, and the essays are based on prompts. And so I was thinking about those prompts and what kinds of things are asked of high school students when they reflect back on the experience that they've had. Now, the prompts ask things like, what was most meaningful to you in high school? What communities were you a part of, and how did you grow as a result? How did you contribute to your community? How do you express yourself? What are your aspirational goals? And as you make the decisions for your child as they move through the high school, you'll want to think about those questions. What is most meaningful? What communities are you part of, and how do you contribute to them? What outlets do you have for self-expression, and what authentically reflects who you are? In each of these decisions, you make a measure against an internal standard. And if you stay with that, you'll be making the right decisions for your child, and your child will be making the right decisions for him or herself. Next slide. So your journey begins here. There are many aspects to a high school experience, and it's important that you understand them and that you understand how they come together as your child moves towards graduation. Next slide. Teens present us with so many different kinds of situations and questions, and it's sometimes hard to know how to hit a balance. What do you do? What do you say? How much freedom do you allow? How much do you rein them in? This is particularly challenging for the parents of 13 to 15-year-olds. And so to make our point, we want to show you a short video.
If Paula Ebert had her way, she would help her child.
Deoxyribonucleic acid. You know that.
With everything.
Go! Go! No! Mama's here.
But that kind of love is frowned upon. So instead, she gives him new Capri Sun Super V, so he gets more of what he needs, without all the her he doesn't think he needs. With one combined serving of fruits and vegetables, new Capri Sun Super V.
Okay, thank you. I don't know whether you recognize yourself in that, but you know, if you think of your family as a circle, it's your job to hold your child to the standards that you set for them, and it's your teen's job to try to perforate the boundaries of that circle. And although these things might seem diametrically opposed, they're actually a dance of individuation that is normal and healthy. And you need to give your teen space to succeed, and yes, sometimes to fail. Knowing the steps of the dance is an ever-evolving process, and as soon as you think you know them, they're going to change. Today's high school experience is very different from your own, and with the changes in the delivery of education that you're currently seeing, it's even that much more different. But there's a huge swath of leeway in being a good parent, and we want you to take heart in that. You need to manage your expectations of your child, but you also need to manage your expectations for yourself. And it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say no. And don't let the pushback from your teenager throw you. We want you to be vigilant with them, and we want you to also trust them. And if you find yourself confused, just remember you're not alone. Next slide. There are many changing roles that are part of this, and that letting go process is one that you will have to be sensitive to, and we're always there to help you and answer your questions. We have a lot of resources available, and we have a lot of experience with this age group. So it is a lot of information to absorb tonight, but we're going to retrace our steps, and we're going to walk you right through it. Our primary let me see this slide here. I think you've probably read it, but these are the different stages in the roles, and I think that we've covered it. So let's just go on to the next slide. The resources that we have correspond to that previous slide in a developmental process, and there are many ways that you can communicate with us. Google Classroom is largely for the students to access their homework, to communicate with their teachers, but there's also a mechanism by which you can be notified of the homework assignments and the other things that are posted there. So you need to just ask your student, and you can log on, and if you have any problems, just call your counselor. The portal is available. You've probably used that already, and we're trying to keep that current. Naviance is being taught to your student. You might already have encountered it, but it's a large software program that tracks both academic and college process. Our district website has a page that is devoted to our department, and if you look under departments, you'll see school counseling. On those pages, you will see our schedules, and you will see the catalog for our courses, and on the left-hand column, there's some navigation buttons, and one that you might want to know about is called Documents, and just take a quick look at it so that you know where things are. We also have established a series of informational meetings that take place sequentially throughout the high school experience, and they're designed to give you the nuts and bolts of what to expect and how to interact with us and interact with your student. On an ongoing basis, the email blast will let you know what's happening in the high school, and they come from Dr. Wilson, or weekly blasts from the counselors. And finally, come to us. We are here for you, and we are here for every question that you want to ask. Let's move on to the next slide. Right now, our ninth graders are in the process of becoming acclimatized to high school. They're just ending the first marking period, and they have started what we call freshman seminar. Upcoming will be an orientation for our incoming ninth graders, but you're welcome to come if you want. Our 10th graders are going to be doing a course called Career Exploration, and that's really to begin to tie them to their interests and strengths, and then what that might look like as they pursue education in high school and beyond. And by the time the students are in 11th or 12th grade, we're really into a very nuts and bolts approach to the college process, and we walk you and them right through it. Course selection is very important, and it comes up between February and April. And again, that is in conjunction with your counselor. And you will be speaking about what kinds of courses your student will take, what choices, and the level that they want to take them at, which would be either a Regents level or an honors level, and then later an AP level. So our 10th graders are only have one AP choice in history, social studies, but as they move forward beyond that, there are many, many choices. And then again, the informational meetings that go with them, especially the college meetings, and you're welcome to all of them. We have a financial night, we have a junior panel where we invite representatives from different admissions offices from a variety of different colleges and universities, and we want you to join us for all of them so you become familiar with the high school experience. Next slide. I'm going to hand this over to Evan Miller, and he's going to explain the graduation requirements.
So to meet graduation requirements in New York State, students must, at a minimum, pass enough classes to earn 22 1/4 credits, successfully pass 5 Regents examinations, and complete a minimum of 40 hours of community service. In New York State, Regents examinations are statewide standardized examinations in core high school subjects. Let's take a closer look at the specific courses and exams that are required. These are the current New York State graduation requirements. As you can see, students are required to enroll in a specific number of credits across specific subject areas. To earn a Regents diploma, students must successfully earn 3 credits in mathematics, 4 credits in English language arts, 3 credits in science, 4 credits in social studies, 1 credit in world language, a half credit in health, 2 credits in physical education, which means enrolling in a PE class for each of their 4 years, 1 credit in the arts, which can be visual arts, music, or dance, and 3.5 credits in focus electives, in which here at Rhinebeck, we offer these electives in science, technology, engineering, arts, math, humanities, and athletics. In addition to earning these 22.25 credits, students must also successfully pass 5 Regents examinations with a 65 or better. 1 in math, 1 in English, 1 in science, 1 in social studies, and 1 additional examination in either math, science, or social studies. Students must also pass the Checkpoint A exam for world language, which is not a Regents exam, but is still required for graduation. Further on the right side of your screen, you can see that students also have the opportunity to earn a Regents with Advanced Designation diploma. Students on track to earn this diploma type are required to enroll in 2 additional credits for world languages, as well as successfully pass 8 Regents exams as opposed to 5, 2 additional in math, 1 additional in science, and 1 additional in social studies. These students must also successfully pass the Checkpoint A as well as the Checkpoint B exam in world languages. Variations to these requirements do exist depending on certain circumstances, and your counselor can advise you if any of these do apply to you. I'll now hand this off to Ms. Mankey.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Miller. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. I will be covering the national testing piece. And before I get started, I want us all to take a collective virtual deep breath. Okay, so in preparation for the SAT and ACT at Rhinebeck, we offer students the pre-ACT and PSAT. So in 10th grade, all 10th grade students take the PSAT in October. And then again in October of junior year, all of our 11th grade students will take the PSAT. So the philosophy behind that is really to expose students to both exams so they can get a feel for, the content, what it looks like, the timing piece of it. And then that hopefully gives students the ability to, 1, see how they do, how their scores come back on those exams. Like I said, get a sense and feel for the tests themselves. Oftentimes, the feedback we get from students is, I really didn't like that one, but I felt much more comfortable on the other. So it gives them a good foundational piece to work from to then decide which exam they'd like to take. So essentially, the goal is to expose them to the pre-ACT, the PSAT, get their scores back, look at that, see how the student feels. And then ideally, they would pick one of those exams, so either the ACT or SAT, and take that exam at least 2 times. So in terms of timeline, pre-ACT, they're taking in 10th grade, PSAT in the fall of 11th grade. And typically most of our students are testing the real deal the first time in the spring of their junior year. For some students, depending on what their junior year looks like and activities that they're involved in, we do have some of our students who will end up testing for the first time in the fall of their junior year. And that may be a student who just has a lot going on in the spring. Maybe they're involved in the musical and then as well playing a sport, and they just can't really manage their time well enough or have too much on their plate to take it in the spring. So those are conversations that we'll have along the way. individually with you and your child to figure out what is the best time frame to begin those tests. So in terms of, so that's national testing for college placement is the ACT and SAT. There's also advanced placement test, and that's given through the College Board. We do offer AP classes here, and as a part of those AP classes, a requirement is to take the AP exam in May. So last year, it looked a little bit different due to COVID. So those exams actually shifted to online last year, and then the format of the test varied as well, or changed, I should say, as well. So instead of having a 2+ hour exam here in school, they went to 45-minute exams where it was free response. We have to see if you do have, so I'm speaking more towards 10th grade parents here. If you do have your child in an AP class, they're taking an AP, they will take that AP exam in May. We don't know what that will look like yet. We haven't gotten any information from the College Board, but I think teachers and students are preparing for those in-school exams, but know that they may be shifted to online depending where we are come May of 2021. SAT subject test. So this is interesting, and we've definitely seen a big shift here in the last couple of years. They're kind of being phased out. They're not as prevalent within the college process anymore. Actually, at this point, no college requires it, although some unique programs do, such as like combined medical programs or engineering programs. So there's about 6 of those unique programs that are out there. And then I know Cooper Union is one of the schools for their engineering program that does require those subject tests. So that's, again, depending on what the student's plan is, what their post-high school plan is. Those are conversations that we'll be having during their course selection meetings, and in junior year, their junior post-high school planning meeting. Other colleges right now recommend that you take SAT subject tests. And so our advice is, if they're recommending that you take them, then you should. Depending on those programs, and if you're looking into a specific major, it's always good, I think, practice to, depending on what colleges you're looking at and what they're recommending, and looking for in terms of maybe a specific program. So just doing the research, looking into whether or not those would come into play. So more, you can switch to the next slide. So just more kind of nuts and bolts pieces of the pre-ACT. It's broken up into 4 sections. There's English, mathematics, reading, and science. And there's an optional writing test that's actually a part of the ACT exam, but the students did not do that as a part of the pre-ACT. So all of our 10th grade students took that on October 14th of this year. We actually just received the results. So we will share those results with the students once they come back into school after November 30th. The counselors will go into one of their classes, give the score reports back, review what does that score report mean. And we also review with them. So a part of that test on the 14th that they took, they also filled out an interest inventory. And based on their answers, ACT will give them feedback in terms of potential areas of interest. So based on their answers, they're saying these are potential areas or careers that you can go into. And we'll use that piece in our 10th grade career guidance curriculum with that. And that typically happens in April and May of this school year for 10th grade students. So that's all I have on the national testing piece. And I am now going to turn it over to Ms. Hannon, who gets to talk about the fun stuff.
Thanks, Miss Mankey. It's usually trying to draw the long or the short straw, and I got very lucky this year. So hi, everyone. Welcome to our evening presentation. I just would like to remind you that you do have the opportunity to ask questions. So please feel free to do that because we might not be covering everything that you wanted to come to this meeting for. So just please take care of doing that for us. So the fun part, the first one is community service. It is a graduation requirement, so that part may not sound as much fun, but volunteering, getting out in the community, giving back are all things that we encourage our students to do. The requirement is 40 hours. At least 20 of them must be outside of school, which means outside of the school district. You can do 20 hours here on campus if it's difficult for you to get out in the community. But we would like to see you get at least those 20 just so that you get out there and put your face in the community. The community service is also an opportunity to work on your leadership skills. If you haven't gotten any of those while being involved with some of the other things that are listed below, such as our clubs and our sports. So we really take advantage of the fact that this is a requirement, but have fun with it. And that's 40 total hours over high school years. We recommend probably trying to do about 10 a year. But I will say that probably 75% of our graduates each year do earn a community service award for more than 100 hours. So that might be something you strive for as well if you have the time and dedication to do so. Now, as for clubs, we are in a tough year with clubs in that it's hard to gather groups of students outside of the school day and actually even during the school day. So we usually have around 28 opportunities for students to participate in clubs. So I wanted to make sure you know that moving forward. The clubs are academic clubs such as astronomy, the French club, the Italian club. We also have creative clubs such as our art club, video club, a ceramics club. And there's performing arts clubs. We have a glee club. We also have a International Thespian Society where the leaders of the theater get together as officers. We have publications. We have a literary magazine. We have the yearbook. We have the school newspaper. We have competitive clubs like Model UN and Mock Trial, Academic Challenge, Science Olympiad. And we also have our leadership opportunities, which is through our student senate and through our class officers. So those are normally the opportunities that we have. But this year we are piloting 6 clubs that were based on participation levels and student interest over the years. So what we have this year, if you take a look, are clubs that are meeting on a particular day of the week. So on the A letter day is the International Club. That's with Miss Whiting. On the letter B days, it's the HOSA group, which is the Health Interest Group, ran by Mr. DeBellis. There's C days. There's the Students Against Destructive Decisions group. That's something that I am the advisor to. D days, the Art Club with Mrs. Dallow. E days, our Student Awareness Coalition, and that's another one of our awareness groups like SAD. That's with Mrs. Carpinello. And F is for the Fishing Club with Mr. Lawton. Interesting group of kids that talk about fishing, and it's kept pretty popular, which is kind of nice to see. Now, this, of course, only happens when we are in school. So we will not be having these meetings until after Thanksgiving. We've already started these meetings, but all of them are still open to students who may have an interest. If they do, they just want to email the particular teachers. This information is also listed on the website on the high school webpage. So if you're looking for a resource later on, you can certainly refer to that. Let's go back to the slide and we'll talk about our sports teams. Again, this is another area of where things are a little bit different this year. We were very fortunate that many of our sports were able to participate in a fall sport, such as cross country, soccer, field hockey, and tennis, and swimming and diving. I believe girls swimming and diving. And all of those seasons have just wrapped up, except for cross country, which is going into a big meet this weekend. A few of the sports did get delayed to what's called a Fall Sports 2 program. That's at the bottom there, tentatively set to start in March. That's the football, volleyball, and cheerleading. So we hope to see them start their seasons in March. Then there's the winter sports. They are going back and forth about the date for that to start. It does keep changing, so I'm not going to give you that date because I'm afraid it's going to keep changing. But if you continue to look at our website under departments for athletics, you will get information there. And I know Mr. Seglia, as soon as we have something definite, will be letting the community know as well. And those winter sports are in basketball and winter track, bowling, ice hockey, swimming, and diving. And then you can see a couple of those sports are merged with other schools. And then in the spring, which has a very late start date this year, it normally starts in March. Those sports will be spring track, lacrosse, golf, baseball, softball, and tennis. Now, all of these sports, most of these sports were offered at the modified level. So some of your students may have participated in 7th and 8th grade. They're also offered at the JV level, which is for our generally 9th and 10th grade students. And then they're also offered at the varsity level, which is for our 11th and 12th grade students and outstanding athletes in some of the lower grades. It's a great opportunity to stay fit, stay healthy, to work on leadership, learn teamwork. So sports are just another one of the great opportunities that we offer here. And we hope that your students will participate in one of or many of the opportunities that you see on your screen right now, because yes, high school is about academics, but it's also about participation and getting to know other people. And as Miss Mackey started this off with, going out and having some fun. So we'd like to see your students participate in these. There are opportunities still open for all of them, minus the fall season. I think I'm going to hand it back to you, Dr. Fight.
Thank you. I just want to add a little bit to what Ms. Hannon shared. There are also, during our more normal years, and COVID will end and there will be time to catch up with all of these things, but we have a terrific Science Olympiad team, and they often bring home awards. We have an award-winning mock trial program and academic challenge, as well as a model UN. And so there's plenty to choose from. The problem is usually prioritizing, and that's where you come in as parents. As soon as you know what your student wants to choose, you need to sit down and discuss what kinds of time is available, because time management is definitely one of the hardest things for this age group. And when they start seeing so many choices and things that they want to do, it can become a bit much. So just remember, high school is a long period of time, and the choices can be sequential. And I just want to get to the self-directed learning piece, because it's very important for how they construct their learning now, but also for the future. Their lives are going to consist of professional experiences that are in flexible groups. I think that they're going to have a number of careers to pursue in the course of their professional lives. And the one thing that's really true is that all of these opportunities as they move forward are characterized by continual learning. And so the construction of learning, which is self-directed learning, is a very important skill set for students to have, and we have quite a few opportunities for them to engage with that. The primary opportunity for that is the independent learner program that I facilitate. Students come into that program with all kinds of interests and ideas. You do not need to know what you want to do when you come into the program. The process of culling out one's interests and finding what really feels good and what's really engaging is a great process, and hopefully people find a passion in the course of that. This year, I have students who are doing computer programming, all kinds of programs, languages that are not offered at RINEC, including Mandarin, Dutch, and Arabic. And we have students studying architecture, sustainable development, social science research, which is a great group. It's a think tank called Action Research, and they take community problems, develop research studies, and donate those studies as a basis for policy development to local organizations. We have some students who are going above and beyond in theater. We have a student studying surveillance, as well as women and leadership, and even feng shui. So the choices are just across the board, and it's really anything that students are interested in. The TEDx Rhinebeck High is not going to be happening this year, but last year we did have a TEDx event, and that's a real TEDx conference, independently produced, and we would love you to see it. If you go onto YouTube and you type in TEDx Rhinebeck High, you'll see some of the wonderful climate talks that students gave during the spring when they migrated the program online and did a terrific job. There are also leadership opportunities throughout the school. We have a peer leadership program, and of course, as Ms. Hannon mentioned, in the sports program, and also leadership opportunities in the community. For example, Senator Shelley Mayer has a youth council, and there are many other leadership conferences and so on that come across our desks. So if your student is interested, just alert your counselor, and as things come up, we'll let you know. And finally, we have competitions. There are math competitions, and as I said before, science competitions, literary competitions, essay competitions. And again, these are fun things to do. And in terms of the essay competitions, they often come with cash rewards, which is a little bit of an incentive for a teenager. So all in all, there are wonderful opportunities here at Rhinebeck, and we are here as a team for you. Please don't hesitate to reach out. The easiest way to reach us is through email, and but you're also welcome to call, and we will always get back to you within 24 hours. That is it for our presentation, and we just want to thank you for being here. But now we're going to see if we have any questions that came in. So Mrs. Ryan, do we have any questions?
We do not have any questions, but I would like everybody just to stay on for just a couple of minutes, just in case everybody's just absorbing what was said and comes up with something. Email address again is qa@rhinebeck.org. So we will stay on for about 2 more minutes to see if something does come in. Oh, well, I have something. I do have something.
Sorry, Mrs. Ryan.
No problem. Will parents receive the results for the pre-ACT 2 and the information about the results?
So we're hoping the score report will be given to the students. They get a copy. We have a copy here in the office. So hopefully they're coming home and sharing that with you. And I believe I can double check this. Typically they get their exam booklet back as well. So they should have 2 of those items that are coming home with them.
Thank you, Ms. Mankey. Dr. Feit, you were going to say something?
I was going to say something. We miss you, and we really look forward to having the students come back. And we hope that all of you will have a very safe Thanksgiving and come back to us healthy and happy, and so that we can move forward with our school year and get back to normal as soon as possible. So if we don't have any more questions.
We have another question.
No. Okay, then I'll stop.
How does COVID canceling the regents impact these requirements?
They don't. They don't impact the requirements for high school graduation. Is that the intended question for high school graduation?
I think probably we can talk about some of the exemptions that were allowed because of the cancellation of the regents. So we had the June regents canceled in 2020, and now the January regents canceled in 2021.
The way that New York State has set it out is that if you complete the course and the regents is canceled due to the COVID, you still get credit for the course, and the regents is then waived.
Okay, we have another question. So many great offerings, and I'm sure students are made aware of the options, but are they encouraged by staff to participate?
Always. There's a back and forth. Clearly, if we know a student is interested and the student is going to advocate for themselves and let us know, that makes it a little easier to direct them to activities that might be really great for them. But yes, we often reach out to students and say, hey, we know you're interested, and we try to make that connection. That's something that you as parents can help us with. Asking at home, is there anything that's come up that you want to participate in, or anything interesting going on? It's really a team effort in that sense.
And I know in past years, I know this year looks a little bit different, and Dr. Wilson had sent out the 5 clubs that are running in her weekly, but typically each year in the beginning of the school year prior to the clubs starting in October, the students in their homerooms are shown a slideshow of the different club opportunities that are available to them.
And I'm always happy to speak with students, as are the counselors, and the Independent Learner Program does take registration in the beginning of the 3rd marking period. So if you're a little bit late getting to that, or you think that might be a good idea to explore an interest or a talent through that program, just have your student contact me, or you can contact me, and we can discuss, what's best.
Another question, the link for the high school clubs is not clickable. Is there another place to see all the clubs that the high school offers?
If it is not clickable, then we will make sure that we get that on there. If you happen to save some of your previous Dr. Wilson weekly emails, it was in there probably at the middle towards the end of October, one of those weeklies. But I will definitely make sure that that link is made live and has that opportunity at this point.
We have another great question here. Can you tell me more about the fishing club? How do you hook a spot?
I can actually say that I have spoken to the advisor about the fishing club, because I was just as curious. And, this is the great thing about Rhinebeck, is that if you have a group of students who have a special interest, a lot of times they can get a club together or some opportunity together as individuals, if they can find an advisor. And it appears that they gather once a week and discuss about how to bait a hook, how to best catch certain types of fish. I did ask, do they go on fishing excursions? And that is currently not what they're doing. It's more just about, I picture it in a classroom, but I also picture it would be probably a bunch of students sitting around a campfire talking about how to hook a fish. And that is really what they do, but it's no campfire, because that would not be good.
Yeah, clubs are not selective entry. So I understand Mr. Lawton is the point person there, and it's just contact Mr. Lawton and say you want to be part of it, and that's really all there is to it.
Here's another question. It's hard to find time for clubs. Will the workload decrease along the year?
I guess we're all sitting here, but the answer really is probably not. The thing that's really important about that question, if the workload is seeming like it's overwhelming, students are having a hard time in any way, it's really important to go to the counselor and to discuss it. Sometimes the best advocate is the student, him or herself, because they're the one they're doing the work and they understand where the rubs are. But we can always have that conversation, and sometimes it's time management or it's some other kind of support that the student needs. But if you're seeing an overwhelm or an overload, please don't be a stranger. Please come to us with that.
As an advisor, I'd also like to just jump in that, we understand that students sometimes can't make 100% commitment to some of the things. And we understand that other things get in the way, which is why, I can't speak for all of the clubs, but the non-competitive clubs generally have open enrollment. I'll give you an example. We had a certain number of students attend our first 2 meetings, and I expect our meetings next when we come back from the Thanksgiving break. I expect us to almost double our enrollment in the club because the fall sports will be over, and we want to be as inclusive as we can while understanding that students have other commitments, especially to their academics and anything else that they may be doing. But at the same time, we do want commitment. So it's a balance, as Dr. Fight has alluded to. But if the schoolwork gets too difficult, of course, that should be their main focus.
Okay, well, there doesn't seem to be any more questions. So we'd like to thank you all for tuning in this evening. And if you think of something later on after you've thought about what you heard here tonight, please feel free to reach out to your counselor or to Dr. Fight or myself. Thank you all and have a great night.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everyone. Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.